And welcome to our Press Box segment. Let me welcome in our panelists. Let's get right to it. We debate hot topics. We have the Times and the DAE guys. We have Tom Jones, columnist, and bright and early in the morning on 620 WDAE.
How you doing, Rod?
Good to have you. And with his partner here, are you always introduced as his partner? It is the Rick and Tom Show.
There you
and
go.
of course, with the Times covering the Bucks, Rick Stroud. Good to have you.
Good to see you, Rock.
All righty. Let's get right to it. The Rays were back now in action. I mean, they came back from Cuba. They played a game in Fort Myers, but that was minor leaguers. Last night it was against the Yankees. They brought all their starters. And Kevin Cash was asked, you know, in the Grapefruit League and baseball players, they're creatures of habit, routine. This took them out of their routine. And he said, and he was sitting there, he goes, it was absolutely no distraction at all. Do you believe him? Do you think he's telling the truth?
Yeah, you know what I do, Rock? I thought going into this trip, I thought it was going to be a distraction, but I think once they got closer to it and they realized what ambassadors they could be, I think they really embraced it. And even that 7-hour delay on the flight coming back, I think they probably bonded a little bit with that. So I think overall this was probably a really good thing. If they had gone to maybe Japan or somewhere over in the Far East where they're taking, you know, where it's time difference and all that sort of thing, it might have been different. But it was just really almost just a little bit south of Miami. So I don't think it was that much of a distraction.
Yeah, now how do you see it?
I don't know if you sat on a tarmac for 7 hours. That's a distraction, but in a good way, like Tom said. I think, you know, teams need to be comfortable being uncomfortable sometimes, especially the ones that are pampered and used to the 5-star hotels. It's good to see them, especially in what amounts to preseason, have to be tested that way because there is bonding that goes on. That's exactly what happens. The other thing I was impressed by was, you know, Cuba wanted to win this game, and to the Rays, of course, it was an exhibition, but when they got down there, they figured out it was bigger than that. It was a big stage. It was an international stage. The president and the first family are sitting in the front row with Castro, and what I liked about it is they responded well. You know, they produced. They were going for it. When you see Kevin Kiermaier stretch it into a double, when you see him score on a tight base hit to right field. So, look, you know, if they win 65 games, we won't be talking about this. But I would like it as a teammate to see that we can dial it up when we need to. And even Matt Moore said he forgot at one point there was a guy on first base.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, if they start 0-7 this year, it was definitely a distraction. Should never go to Cuba again.
Exactly.
It
right.
is funny. It is funny. And I actually asked Cash last night, I said, when did you realize that, whoa, we really got to win? He goes, we always are like that.
Yeah.
What do you think, we don't want to win? He
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
took offense at that. All right, I'm going to ask you about A-Rod, and I got to tell you, man, I got up close for this interview, okay? It was the New York beat writers. He is a big man. He's bigger in person. He is huge. So he said he's going to play 2 more years. He still might play after that. Let's listen to this, and then I'm going to ask you guys about A-Rod. Listen in.
The 2 most enjoyable years of my career was my first year in Seattle and last year. And I'm having a lot of fun. For the first time in my career, for the first time in a long time, I have wind on my back. And it's a lot more fun than having it right in my face. It's a lot more fun running downhill than uphill. So that's my goal this year, and there's a lot of baseball to be played, over 300 games.
Now, I'm amazed. I mean, he's going to be 41. Mm-hmm. The contract's for 2 more. If he gets 30 and 30, let's say, he'll be 15 away from Barry Bonds. You think he's going to retire then? But I ask you, do you think he's really doing it clean? Is it possible?
You know what? I can't imagine he's so stupid to try it a 3rd time. But at the same time, he gets no benefit of the doubt from me or from anybody else. You do what you have done over your career, and you've lied repeatedly. You're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. I don't think we should be celebrating his last 2 years. If he goes on some sort of farewell tour, this isn't Jeter walking away from the game, who's been a great ambassador for a game. He's narcissistic, he's selfish, and only New York fans like him at this point. I hope he goes away as soon as possible, but is he clean? Like I said, I can't imagine he's so stupid to try it again.
You know, it's interesting. He said that his 2 favorite years was his first year and last year. Yeah. Might have been the only 2 years we figured that he was clean. So there's that. Look, A-Rod won't have a contract in 2 more years. He'll be 42 years old. The question I have is, what team wants to take him on? Is there somebody that's going to celebrate him, as you said, becoming the home run king, when we know that there's a big asterisk next to it, and maybe the only guy that understands that is Barry Bonds, who's a hitting coach with the Miami Marlins, and so that's a perfect place for him to go.
Exactly.
They can high-five each other around the bases.
I didn't think about that.
But I think, you know, his body's gotten beat up. I don't know what 300 games is going to do to him.
Yeah.
If he's healthy, I'm sure he would like to play, but I'm not sure anybody else
Well,
will
I'll tell you what's going to happen. If he goes to Miami and he's 15 short, I'll tell you who's coming out of retirement. Barry Bonds is coming out of retirement because I think that guy, he just
Based
hit
on what you
a
say,
bunch
can
of
still
batting
race.
practice a couple weeks ago. He can
still
still
race.
hit about 30 bombs a year.
All right, let's go to the Orlando Magic. Now, I think we all know that in the NBA, and we've seen it, the players run the league. It's not happening in Orlando. Elfrid Payton somehow got in the doghouse. He's probably one of their best players right now. And Skiles says, I'm still not ready to guarantee him starter. He might still be coming off the bench. That's an unusual move in the NBA, especially when the Magic are bad and they're trying to get some wins. Do you like what Skiles is doing?
No, not really. But I'll tell you what this reminds me of. This reminds me a lot of a hockey analogy with John Cooper and Jonathan Drouin in that situation. Because what's happened is Payton is not Skiles' type of player yet. He doesn't play defense well enough. He doesn't bring the energy each and every night like he needs him to bring. He doesn't play hard minutes the way he wants him to play. That sort of reminds me of John Cooper and Jonathan Drouin. That's why Drouin's in the minors at this point. Here's the difference. The Lightning can win without Jonathan Drouin. I'm not sure the Magic are going anywhere without Payton. And Scott Skiles isn't going to be there for the long term if they don't turn this thing around soon. I think eventually he's going to have to give in and start playing this kid because he's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, he's helping the kid. He might not be helping the product if I pay a ticket. But, you know, when he did come off the bench recently, he had like a triple-double.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's effective. He also did this. This isn't just this guy. You know, he also did it with Victor Oladipo, too. So he has a history of making guys earn it. I think Scott Skiles knows what it takes to develop players. I question whether they can win enough games to actually see the fruits of that labor. But, man, the season's just about over. So I wonder, too, why the kid at this point of the year doesn't bring the energy all the time. That's another
Well, I
question.
think the Magic are in a tough spot. Either they need to start playing the kid or they need to think about going in and dealing him for something else or a draft pick or something like that. Because if you don't trust him enough, like Rick said, at this point of the season, when are you going to trust him?
All right, that's fair. All right, in our second half hour, we'll hit on Jameis Winston, Michael Sam, not on his end, but he was trending this week, and also the NCAA tournament. So that's in our next half hour.